After my university in New York, I spent 3 years at an ashram or an Indian monastery.
This is beautiful. How talented can a person be?
Inner growth, I feel that is the source of everything that you want to manifest outside in your life.
What does being a woman mean to you?
Ooh, we're creators. We're born creators.
It's almost considered it's bad for women to be strong.
That's someone else's opinion. That doesn't define me.
I'm gonna cry.
It's not just a piece of jewelry. It's a piece of her love.
Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of Midra Stories. My name is Anastasia and I'm founder of Midra Jewelry. Our idea behind the brand is that jewelry doesn't have to be just beautiful or it doesn't supposed to bring just aesthetic meaning. It's also very symbolic, very spiritual, and it can be a tool which women use to connect with themselves. Our first collection is called Values, and we thought, what is the best way to talk about the values if not through the lens and stories of the women who we find inspirational. And I'm very excited for our first guest on the Midra Stories. It's a person I find very inspiring. So welcome to Isha Sharma. She is a person who combines very different sides of herself. She has a very successful corporate career, which she will give us a brief intro about. But at the same time, she's a very spiritual person who's also doing a lot from the yoga side, Pilates side, spiritual work, self-development, etc. Plus, she's very beautiful. Plus, she travels a lot. Plus, she has many hobbies. And is just a person with a very calming energy. And it's really exciting and inspiring to me to see Isha and to be able to speak to her during this podcast. So again, very excited. And Isha, maybe you can give a few words about yourself.
Sure, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Hi everyone, my name's Isha Sharma. I'm originally a mountain girl from the Himalayas, and I moved out of my Himalayas when I was at the young age of 7. And ever since, almost every 3 years, I've been going to a new country. So I grew up across 6 to 7 countries across 3 or 4 continents. And as Anastasia said, I think my grounding factor or narrative in life has been inner impact and outer impact. So inner growth and outer impact. So in terms of inner growth, I feel that is the source of everything that you want to manifest outside in your life. And so I'm very much into meditation, yoga. I started journaling at the age of 8 as a way to make sense of the world around me, because everything around me, friends, situations, schools, houses, was always changing. So I wanted something to ground me. And I just started writing. And ever since, it's just been my companion in a way of self-reflection and expression. And that kind of led me to more introspection. And I really got into yoga, self-development, self-growth books. And ultimately, after my university in New York, I spent 3 years at an ashram or an Indian monastery. And after that, I went back to the real world, did my master's from the LSE in London. And I've worked with the UN, the World Bank. I've founded my own social entrepreneurship program. And now currently I work for the UAE government, where I get the opportunity to actually serve the country in development and international development and foreign assistance affairs.
This is crazy to me how one person is able to combine all of this. Plus, you've done yoga teacher training, and now you're doing Pilates teacher training as well on the weekend when you prefer work.
Yes, I think I just love to learn. And I think movement literally medicine for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am a yoga teacher, and I do sound healing and access bars, and I combine that with strength training, gymnastics, and calisthenics. And I recently just completed my Fletcher reformer and mat work training. And it just opened a whole new world of understanding my body and just understanding alignment. And just Pilates was actually called efficient body mechanics. It was actually contrology. And it just makes me make sense of how I move. How can I integrate these moves into my yoga and other movement classes? So it's very enlightening.
Yeah, I can imagine. But it's also very interesting the point you mentioned about you as a child, changing environments a lot, moving around, traveling, etc. And you starting your kind of spiritual journey or reflection journey, self-awareness as a child to kind of make peace with the fact that the environment is changing around you. So I think it's one of the really interesting observations that, especially when many things are changing around you, you need something grounding inside yourself to be able to like keep up with everything that's going on and like make sense of the world. So I think it's really interesting that, you know, as a child, you already started being into the
Yeah.
spirituality.
I think one thing for me was because I keep changing places and careers and, so many changes with people, I was always constantly looking for a meaning or a place called home.
Yeah.
Especially, I'm a third culture kid, so I'm originally Indian, but I grew up across different countries. I was raised in the Middle East, and even in the Middle East, I've been here for more than 2 decades in Dubai, but I also was raised in Kuwait and Qatar and Oman. So I've been to different countries, and I was always looking that, okay, where is the place I can call home? Where's my home base? When I go to India, I love India, but I can't really relate myself as my helipad. And that constant quest and that constant search or yearning for a place called home led me to realize maybe it's a person called home. It's your family or a loved one or your specific person. And then the more I did, got into these practices and into meditation, I realized home is more of a feeling and it's an inner discovery process. And I realized that no matter where I go, I can just close my eyes and not even just feel, but I can invoke that feeling of home anywhere I like. And I can create that home not only just as a space, but more so as an energy, like energetically create a home around me and in me.
It makes sense. And I also think it's not just, you mentioned it can be like a family member or, someone close to you, but I feel like also that your ultimate home is yourself. Wherever you go, you bring yourself, right? And even if you change environment so many times, like I haven't moved around as much, but since I was 17, I moved out of my hometown, my home country, and then I lived in like 5 countries after that. And yeah, I also had this like identity crisis. Still, I have sometimes I'm like, where I'm from, who I am, where is my home? And then I realize, yeah, it's, people who are close to you, it's yourself. And then you just kind of carry it around the world, being a child of the world.
Yeah. And especially living in Dubai, I feel like majority of the population is expats. It's such a transient city.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to make sense of it. Everyone's trying to live their own version of a Dubai dream that sometimes you can get lost in the way.
Yeah.
And especially finding your own kind of tribe, your own people, and creating your own home. Yeah.
This is true. Okay, if we take one step back, throughout your life journey, again, you have many experiences in terms of your career, interests, backgrounds, where you lived, etc., etc. What can you define as values? What do values mean to you?
So I studied literature when I was in university, and I love semantics. So I actually looked up way before what values mean. And values comes from the Latin root valere, which means to give strength to. So literally, value is something that you value, like as an action, that you give meaning to, that you give life to. And it's something that not only grounds you and provides you a source for meaning of life, but it's also a sort of a goal and aspiration that you want to work towards. So you can have strength or adaptability or love or peace as a source to push you forward, but you can also have another value or a spectrum of the same value that you're looking towards moving to in your life. And so that's why I feel values can change over time based on your current life situation, your current circumstances. And it's also it's an interesting way that values are formed in yourself, because I think as we're younger, it's more about society, what our family, our culture upbringing has been. And that still plays a role because we're still always social animals as humans. And right now we're always socially bombarded by social media. But I also feel over time, as you evolve and if you're introspective, it becomes more of an inner discovery process. And I think there are kind of 3 versions of a value. I feel one can be cognitive, and one can be, and now I'm going to technical because I write journals, so I feel like I reflect about. So one is more cognitive, what you think what you want, what you feel about the value, and how you live the value, which is more behavioral. So, for example, I can say, I value honesty, right? I value honesty as a concept, and I want honesty in my relationships. And when I feel I have honesty, I feel empowered or authentic, or I feel loved by a certain person. Or when I'm honest with another person, I feel I have freedom. But in real life, do I practice honesty, or when a situation comes, am I always telling the truth? Or do I, play around with the version of honesty, and what does it mean to me in behavior? And so I think it's very interesting to reflect if your cognitive, what you think you want in honesty, versus how you feel when you're honest or dishonest, versus how you translated that to actual behavior, or when someone is dishonest with you, how that translates in real life, how congruent that is. I think if they're aligned, that gives me a more sense of congruency or cohesiveness in life. And when they're incongruent, it just feels that something is off. But it also shows that values are not black or white. They're very fluid. And there's no one stone to everything, because it's so contextual.
This is very true, because I have like an exercise where every week I have a list of my values, which, as you said, it changes over time, but there are some core ones which stay. And every week I like reflect on my week which has passed, and I'm thinking like, okay, my value, care, have I been caring enough, towards my loved ones, towards my family, towards myself? And it's not always the case. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. And it really, as you said, it's not black and white, right? It's not like if I don't show it in my real life, I don't feel it, or it's not important to me. Sometimes, I don't know, the conditions are different. Sometimes the environment is different. But I agree. But I feel like values can be almost like your inner compass or inner guidance, as you said, to feel like connected and cohesive. Because when your actions don't match what you value, there is a big kind of gap which keeps on growing and growing and growing. And at some point you start feeling bad about yourself if you kind of betray yourself almost constantly.
Yeah. I feel it's so underrated, because what we value at a certain phase in our life literally filters whatever experiences we want to bring in. Say I was valuing creativity and freedom back, a few years ago. And now more and more I'm valuing authenticity and stability. And so the kind of conversations I'm having, the kind of experiences I want to have in the future and I'm having right now, the kind of people I'm bringing in and I'm, connecting with, that's this filter. Okay, do they meet my value of authenticity? If they not, they can be creative and they can give a lot of sense of freedom and bohemian living. But if they don't meet it, I don't want to connect with them right now. So I feel they're so underrated when you think about how much values also guide our attention and our direction in life. It's almost giving it a lot of energy in that, and intention in that sense.
This is very true. But also you mentioned that you think that values are more of a fluid concept, because you said changes over time. But do you think in your personal experience there are, I don't know, some core values which were important to you as a child, which are important to you now, and which you think, of course, we don't know what's going to happen, going to be important to you in 20, 30 years, something that you consider kind of core, which almost defines your identity in a way?
Yeah, I feel when I think of values, I put them into buckets. So one is, some values are related to communication, which is sort of honesty and authenticity and how you present yourself in the world. And then there's some values more about connection, such as warmth or compassion and love. And then there's some values about, strength, such as resilience and adaptability. So it's almost like a periodic table in that sense. And I feel there's almost like a value chart where you have one bucket of values and then you have sub values. So it's very interesting to look at. For me, when I think about some core values, I think I don't know it, so I'm going to number them with you as we speak. One of them is definitely adaptability. The second is strength. Third is love. I don't know if a love is in value or a feeling or
Can be
I think
multiple.
more like compassion, warmth, love, that feeling of connectedness. Then authenticity, strength, love.
Adaptability.
Pardon?
Adaptability.
Adaptability. Then I said authenticity now, so that's 4. And 5 can be freedom. Yeah.
Okay.
Freedom.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And I feel they've expressed themselves in different facets. And the more I reflect on those values, they reveal something new to me every time, from a more superficial meaning, what I think it should be, to more of what it is and almost different expressions of it. And I feel each value has a spectrum. So, like a strength, for instance, can have a negative connotation to it if we don't manage it right.
Yeah.
And if and it also can have a very positive angle to it, but it's up to us on how we almost play with that value or embody that value in our minds and our hearts. And
yeah, I totally agree. I agree, because also, for example, let's take freedom, because you also mentioned it's one of your core 5. Freedom on a superficial level, it's almost something like rebellious action, like I don't want to do this, I don't want to be here, it can be going into really like minus direction where the person starts being almost like, again, rebellious against everything that's going on around him. Or it can be on the positive spectrum about what do I deeply want from my life, what do I deeply want from my experiences, and then basically you take the freedom to live according to your own rules, your own standards, without kind of, pressure from the society or the expectation or parents or whoever it can be. So I totally agree with you that it's like a spectrum, and then we kind of, depending on our age and experience and everything, we can be a little bit shaken towards, this.
Definitely. And I think they all interconnect with each other and they complement each other so beautifully. So they don't run in isolation. I feel like if we're trying to navigate our way through life, if we just anchor ourselves for a month or 2 months or 3 months just on one value, say, I'm just focusing on discipline. I think more than freedom, because authenticity for me is related to freedom. I think my 5th value would be discipline.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll revise that.
That works.
Yeah, so adaptability, strength, love, authenticity, and discipline. But yeah, if we anchor ourselves to one core value, say discipline, and just make it our guiding North Star for 1, 2, or 3 months, all the other values cohesively work around each other, because there's, for instance, like strength gives you grounding, love gives you a sense of purpose, authenticity gives you a sense of meaning and life and expression to what you want, and discipline actually gives that momentum for direction and action. So I feel they beautifully
intertwine,
complement and connect and layer on to each other.
Yeah, I love when we met last time and you mentioned that like I can't, just speak about one value because you kind of all come together, and I'm like, this is so true. And I never actually thought about it myself, but I love the idea that one can't exist without another. It's not like there's a separate place inside of you for just one value or another value. Like all mix and they determine your life experience.
Definitely. And I feel just, anchoring on one, if you want to navigate through, just beautifully brings the other values together.
I totally agree.
Yeah. And I think we also confuse virtues with values a lot in today's society, because virtues are more about what society regards us as. Are you good and you're compassionate, and are you do you behave good in society? And virtues is almost like a outside lens. And values is more inert, and it's the source of values are inside. Of course, they have some outside factors, but I feel this can also be a tricky factor, because sometimes we define our values based on how we want others to perceive us. And that can be a slippery slope and very delusional. And then you're not giving yourself power, because values are meant to be empowering. When you stick to your values and you align your actions and your speech and your interactions accordingly, you're coming from a source of strength. Versus if you're thinking your virtues, or whatever society is defining as virtues, are your values, then you're never feeling yourself, because you're letting someone else define what your values should be or how you should act in the world.
That's a very interesting thought, because we had this conversation with someone a couple of years ago. There are some values which are socially acceptable, like love. Everyone thinks love is a good, value or feeling or emotion. Care, authenticity, strength, they all kind of sound, strength is a little bit slippery slope, but let's say it's still socially acceptable. But there are values like ambition, for example. And I think especially in certain societies, so in certain generations, ambition is almost considered a negative thing, right? So if you're like overly ambitious or maybe competitive in a way, society doesn't see it very well, again, regarding depending on where you come from, like
Especially for women.
Exactly. And so then you're like, if there's something very innate to yourself, like you're very ambitious, you want like a lot from your life, you want to achieve a lot, you almost have to like, keep it hidden within yourself, so not to provoke other people around you. And then this is exactly when you start being disconnected, because you consider it like bad value almost. And again, it comes to the idea that there is no black and white, there is no bad and good. Every value can be taken to its extremes. Even love, you can love someone like to the way to an extent where you just control someone so much, like you suffocate them with your love. So this is really interesting.
No, absolutely. I feel I had to navigate around that, because when I was young, from a very young age, I'd like to, take charge. I was very driven from a young age. I had goals and dreams and things I wanted to achieve, and that was always a good thing for everyone around me, for my parents. And then I remember once I was prefect, and then the class head. I was in second grade. That's how deep the childhood memory went. And someone was like, "Oh, Isha's too bossy." And I took it to heart so much that throughout time, as I grew up, I still got leadership positions. I still went for a wand. And I remember in high school, I became head girl, and, all those, the leadership positions. I was in the World School Debate Championships, etc. But even though I got the position, I would not embody the leadership role completely. And I would almost shy out because I didn't want to be perceived as bossy. And I almost became timid, very timid at work. And I had to pluck it out until very recently. It just went out, I think 1 or 2 years ago, when I really self-accepted the fact and said, that's someone else's opinion. That doesn't define me. But it's also that value versus virtue. Inherently, this is something I value because I feel a goal or a vision or a sense of purpose gives you a direction in life. And it channels your energy, and it's a way of unleashing your potential and finding different dimensions of you. Because as you can see, I don't like doing one thing. I love doing everything at different times. So that's just me. I'm just curious. But to someone, that may not be perceived as a great thing. But I took someone's perception of me very much to heart as a kid, almost like an inner child wound that I had to kind of, maneuver and work towards, and do a lot of work within myself to understand why was that one comment from an 8-year-old affecting me so many decades down the line. So I think that, especially for women, and that perception and virtue versus value, you have to be very grounded in what you believe in, and be very reflective to really not let other filters get to you.
And it's also especially interesting because you are more on the higher spectrum of, spirituality, self-awareness, self-work. Like you actually, it's your way of living. You practice this many years. Versus for many, and even for you, it took many years to kind of analyze it and understand it and kind of take it out of your system almost. And I feel like there are many people who are just getting maybe to the stage of this, okay, let me analyze myself, let me think why I do things certain way or the other way. And for them, it must be really difficult also. That's why, like, I would like to have these conversations more. So it provokes people who are still at the early stages of their self-development, including myself, to really analyze and connect with themselves and, kind of separate what is theirs versus from what was given to them from the outside, if it makes sense.
Yeah. And I think it's a journey, and there's no like you're early or late in the game. I mean, everyone's on their own journey. Everyone has their own measures of self-reflection. I think the biggest compass is your feeling. I feel our feelings are our inner compass. If something feels off, it's probably off. If I'm not feeling right about this comment someone said, what triggered that feeling in me? And if you just sit with yourself and say, okay, why did I feel that way about that? And what does that tell about myself as a person and what I value right now and versus what I don't? And just having that honest conversation with yourself just can reveal, honestly, so much.
This is true. Okay, maybe we can move a little bit towards the jewelry part of the discussion.
I would love that.
Because you mentioned jewelry, one of your core 5 values is strength. And we kind of discovered it last time. But still, maybe here we have some pieces from...
Oh, so pretty.
I need to move this.
Yes.
Okay. Here we have our pieces from the main collection. Okay. We have, I think, here 7 or 8 core values. So we have hope ring, joy ring.
Should I see what I like and then you can tell me?
Exactly. Okay. Forget what I said.
Okay.
Just pick it.
Okay. I'm going to see. I love all the pieces, so it's going to be very hard for me to choose. Oh, they're so beautiful, Anna.
Thank you.
This is beautiful. I love the design of this.
Yeah, this is freedom.
This is gorgeous. It's just so... I love the little dots and it's fluid.
It's fluid and it's open-ended,
Yeah.
It doesn't restrict your energy.
Yeah, and it goes both up and down, sort of the yin and yang. I love dangling earrings, as you can see. So I have these are beautiful. What stone is this?
So they are basically 2 different stones because one is white and one is purple. So one is white topaz and one is amethyst. They look really beautiful.
Yeah, amethyst I have a strong inclination to because it's a very spiritual stone of wisdom and light.
And actually these earrings are authenticity, which is one of your 5 core values. So perhaps we can take it for a deep dive.
Yes. And this one is?
Intuition.
Oh, I love this.
For me, I fell in love with the stone because it's like almost like a witch stone. It has these needles inside and it was so beautiful. So I just made the ring for the stone.
Yeah, it's almost like philosophers, like what a stone.
Or the third eye.
Yes, and even it's shaped like an eye. I love this one. This is so cute. I don't wear many rings, so I usually wear just earrings or just 1 or 2 pieces of jewelry, but I'm getting into dainty. This is gorgeous.
It's very girly ring.
Yeah.
But this is also hope. So, I wanted it to be really light.
Yeah. It's very hopeful. It's very, it's beaming.
Yeah.
Beaming with joy.
Yeah.
This one. And let's see. Beautiful rings. Do you design all of them?
I design. Yeah, we have the manufacturing facility, but I'm the designer.
And this one is?
This one is strength, which is also another one of your core values.
Gorgeous. I also love is it sapphire?
It's still sapphire. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Again, this is another story where I saw the stone and I'm like, I need to have a ring for this.
Yeah. It's so elegant. And I love how it's in between the edges. Yeah, it's really hard for me to choose.
But then we can choose based on the ones which you said are your core 5.
Yeah, so I think authenticity, and this one is?
This is authenticity.
Uh-huh.
And the one you're holding now is strength. Or if you feel like you really like the hope, we can talk about
I like them all, and I feel they're so connected. I might take the whole jewelry. This is also beautiful.
This is clarity.
Wow. Let's go with strength. I find this one very elegant. And there are different ways I can wear it, like diagonal and kind of more horizontal. And it's very, very graceful.
I agree. Also looks good on your head. But okay, so if we sort of try to deep dive into the strength, especially, I think you mentioned this before already briefly, strength for women. Because I feel like, same as with ambition, it's almost considered it's bad for women to be strong. Not bad, but there is this connotation that strong woman is, or misconception that the strong woman is the one which is very in her masculine energy, which is very not connected to her feminine energy. It's like almost like a man wearing a skirt. Again, depending on where you come from, and they're more feministic society and more less feministic society.
Yeah.
So what do you think strength in a woman is? How would you define it?
I think inherently, I mean, I don't want to do gender biases and say strength is a. I think they have different expressions in a man and a woman. But I think we think of the conception of strength is something that is brazen and that is almost aggressive and that is masculine. And you have to be almost harsh and be overprotective of yourself and be attacking. You either have to take the offense or the defense if you are a strong person. And I think that is the exact, I mean, in my opinion, that's the exact opposite of what strength is. And I think women just embody true strength so beautifully. And I feel like when I look at a woman and her power and her real embodiment and her, now I see where the values connect, but in her real authentic self of when she is true to who she is, true to what she believes in, and really seating in her own sense of self-worth. I think that's strength because we often, again, there's a spectrum, right? I think we perceive strength as that aggressive power that you have to really push out in the world. But I feel strength is not that. It's not rigidity or it's not stubbornness. Actually, I feel that comes as a source of weakness. Because when are you stubborn? When you're not getting your way, right? When are you aggressive? When you're not getting your way. When are you on the defense or offense? When you're not getting your way, when you're not believing in what you want and how you're going to get there. That's when you're literally in flight or fright mode. And that comes when there's an absence of strength, not when there's a presence of strength. And I think strength is when you have a sense of complete self-acceptance and acceptance with the situation wherever you are, and you're fully in the present moment, and you're taking a step towards whatever you want from that space. And it's not brazen courage that I'm, sometimes, so the expression of strength can be in different ways. So, you have this light, that strength, and then there's different rainbow colors to it coming in different situations. But sometimes strength has meant to me that, it's like, okay, this is a challenge, Isha, and we're going to tackle this head on. Let's just put our peaky blinders, put a timer, and just get to it. Or it's, when I don't want to go to the gym or work out, and I'm just like, no, let's do this. That is a source of strength. And sometimes a source of strength is when I'm having a very hard time in my life and I'm on ultimate low. It's that soft voice that whispers, hey, I got this. It's not always the voice that says, I can handle it. I can do it on my own. I can handle everything. It can also be, I can't handle it right now, but it's okay. I'm still here. I'm still here for myself. And just offering that presence and that self-compassion and forgiveness and love to yourself, I feel that is honestly the biggest source of strength. And I'm getting emotional for some reason. But I think I've come a long way to sort of discover that. That it's not always pushing yourself and being harsh on yourself and being harsh on others. And I think we tend to have a lot of tough love towards ourselves, especially as women, because we're always critiquing and internalizing everything, society's, norms and values and virtues. But when you realize that, okay, strength is being radically self-compassionate with myself and allowing myself to express myself as I am at that moment. And even if I'm not acting the way I should be acting in my head, I'm still here. Sometimes it's, I can handle this on my own and I'm on top of the world and I'm wearing Wonder Woman wings. And sometimes it's like, I feel I am at the bottom low of my life. I don't want to get up. I just want to drown. But you know what? It's okay. I know I can't handle this right now, but I'm still here for myself. And giving that love to yourself at that point, I feel that's true social strength.
I agree. I also like trying to, analyze or reflect on the people that surround me, and the ones which I consider the strongest are not the ones, as you said, which are like, aggressive or loud or like very protective of themselves. It's actually always like a very quiet force. It's always like, and it's invisible force. You don't see it, they don't show it, but you just see that the person is all right and he's all right or she's all right. Not because everything is good or smooth in their life. It's because, yeah, exactly, they're kind to themselves. They know they're going to be okay. Even if they're in deep, 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 bottom, they still know that they're here and they're going to be fine. And I think this is what gets them through difficult times as well.
Yeah.
And allows them to also kind of cherish their good times.
Yeah. And you see that in old people. I think if you just sit with a person who's 80, 90 years old, or even like, 60 and above, and you just see this peace in their eyes, and you're talking to them about life and, what you're going through, and they're like, okay, it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's just that strength of solidity. And for me, what's given me that strength is sort of my practice, like what in India they call it sadhana, which is the wealth, because you can have all the wealthy, material possessions, but the true wealth that you're cultivating in yourself based on the values you have, and the spiritual practice that you do. I think meditation, when I sit with myself, I think of it as cleaning my iPad drive. So it's not almost like I'm not going to have any thoughts, but I close my eyes, and there's one layer of Isha that just like, and then there's one layer I go back and back and back, and then I meet that point, which is just so solid and just so peaceful and quiet. And even just that one glimpse, when I wake up, I can almost see that there's one part of me that's just, going out and buzzing around. And there's one part of me that's almost watching it.
Yeah.
And just smiling and watching the TV show in my head, in my mind, in my life. And I think that's a source of strength, to know that no matter what external emotions that I'm feeling on the surface, I just close my eyes, I can just tap into a waterfall of peace that I've cultivated over time. And that's always within me and within all of us. But it's just about going to that retreat every time.
Yeah. And when you talk about going to the retreat, exactly, I think there's also a conception that like you need to be in certain special place to be able to do that, or like in certain special, it's almost like it requires preparation, but in fact it doesn't. It's just something you practice on a daily basis, and gradually learn more to connect to that kind of source, right? Which again becomes your source of strength, which can't be taken away from you.
Yeah. And I think it's also about having reminders, daily reminders. So, one is discipline. So you have cultivated practices over time, habits over time, based on your values. So for instance, I value peace. When I am peaceful, I feel empowered, I feel stable, I feel more in control of my life, I feel more poised. And in order to cultivate this value or have it show up daily in my life and live it and embody it, I practice meditation, or I practice having tea with journaling in the morning, or I practice going for a run because it gives me peace. So it's almost like, what you think the value is, what you're feeling about the value. And I think the last step of embodying it is actually the game changer. And I think the same way, I think jewelry plays such a big part in that. For instance, you mentioned at the start of the podcast that jewelry, when you wear jewelry, you kind of get into that embodiment of that value and reminding what the same reason why people have tattoos, for instance, And I think when I wear a certain piece of jewelry, for instance, okay, I have the strength ring and I wear the strength ring, it's that sort of a reminder, all right, this is not going the way I want to right now, but it's okay. The present moment is inevitable. And I just breathe it in, breathe it out, and I respond rather than react. And our actions are not going to be perfect. And I don't always respond. I also react. And I have my moments where, but just having these reminders gives you a direction for an upward growth than a downward spiral.
I agree. It's exactly what was my kind of motivation for also naming this collection the way it's named, and the idea behind it is a visual reminder, right? For example, there are some days where, for example, intuition ring And during this day, I don't know, like I'm at work or I need to make certain decision, and like I just glimpse at my hand, not because I want to, it's just here.
Yeah.
And I look and see the ring, and I'm like, okay, intuition. Like maybe I should actually, instead of focusing on what I think here, I should listen to my gut feeling, and let this, be my guide to making decision. And it always ends up being right, because intuition is, I don't know what it is, but there and it's strong.
Yeah.
So I agree with this comment.
Yeah. I think jewelries are like a beautiful, beautiful reminder. And not only they're pretty, but they're also meaningful to us. And that makes them even more powerful. And I think if you want to step into a zone, say, right, you want to feel more clear, or if you want to feel more, just got home and you want to ease it out, you can wear something and then you can just embody it. Literally different hats and energies that you're carrying. You want to feel, okay, I'm in mode work, and then, work mode. And then you go and then you say, okay, today I want to feel strong. And I want my words to have a sense of presence and power. And then you wear, for instance, a strength ring, and you just have more confidence. It's almost placebo, but it's, it's giving you an intention towards your day.
Exactly. And also, with time, the more you wear it and the more you accumulate this energy of strength with this specific ring, it's metal, right? So it also absorbs, and stones, they absorb the energy. And then almost, again, it can be like a placebo effect, right?
Yeah.
But it can work this way.
But it's all energy. So, I mean, we're also channeling our energy, but also the stones are having the energetic effect. Because I know you have amethyst, here you have sapphire.
Aquamarine, rutilated quartz, I think, topaz. Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel all of the stones also have an energetic quality. So it's all energy.
I have a short quiz prepared, but before we go into this, I still would want to ask you one more question, since again we kind of moved into jewelry conversation. Do you have a piece of jewelry which is more important to you, symbolic to you than others? And maybe there is like a short story behind it. Again, we don't need to go like very personal and comfortable, but something you can share.
So there's one piece of jewelry that my grandmom, from my mom's side, we call her Nani. So my Nani. She always wanted to get me a solitaire set, and she gifted me the solitaire set, and then after that she passed away. So for me, now I'm getting emotional. Yes, that's fine. So for me now, that's the most symbolic set, because it's not just a piece of jewelry, it's a piece of her love.
Yeah.
And it represents her almost. So whenever I wear that, it just makes me feel strong, because I feel that I was so loved and cared for, that my grandmom...
I'm going to cry.
Yeah, me too. That my grandmom from that time wanted to, get this piece of jewelry for me.
Yeah. I think it also makes you feel the presence, right, of this. It's always with you, like the energy is always with you. Should we get a sip of water?
Yes, please. Yeah, that's the thing. Like jewelry and these items can mean a lot, because their symbolism is also so high. Especially when someone gifts it to you. Whenever you wear it, you think of that person.
This is true.
So I've had gifts as well, but yeah, and whenever I'm like, oh yeah. You think about them and you think good about them and you send them that good energy, whether they're here or not.
Yeah, like it's a source of connection.
Exactly.
Okay, quiz, let's talk about something more light. And let me just open it because I have it on my phone. Okay, it's gonna be like, simple questions. You can just say what you feel like saying.
Exciting.
Okay, so what is a place where you instantly feel like yourself?
My hometown in Shimla.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my original OG hometown in the mountains.
What's your favorite ritual to connect with yourself?
Writing. Yeah.
Like journaling or just...
Yeah, journaling. I specifically write poetry.
Speaking of which, can we hear your poem about strength? If you feel comfortable. If you don't, then...
Sure. I started writing poetry when I was like almost, around when I was a kid, 8 or 10. So I think poetry, I journaled. That's definitely a way for me to connect myself. But when I write poetry, it's also kind of my artistic expression.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I connect with myself the most during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And meditation. Meditation, I'm finding a more inner retreat within myself.
Mm-hmm.
And connecting with myself in another way. When I'm journaling, it's a more processing and having a dialogue. So I think both. It's meditative journaling.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so this is about strength. Let me just... Okay, so this one. Just a background about this. Or maybe I say the poem and then you can, then we can talk about it. So I wrote this almost 10 years ago. At 6 a.m. at an airport. So, just for context, while I was waiting for my flight. So it says, a strangeness in my heart, a queerness in my mind, a heartbreak in my soul, turning everything blurry, blind. Twilight dawns, gloomy, yet springing hope, giving possibilities of a distant future to which I can elope. Daffodils bloom, calming me awake, whispering, courage, my heart, hold on. Sunshine strikes, calling me awake, whispering, courage, my heart, move on. So I drag out of bed, singing a song, hoping today my wish will come true. But wistful wishes are but dandelion kisses, and hope a mirage of endless distances construed.
This is beautiful. How talented can a person be? This is beautiful.
You just have to be open to not defining yourself and then discover. But yeah, I think as you can see, it's a lot of oxymorons or opposites here. For instance, I say there's a heartbreak in my soul. Everything's blurry, blind, but then the twilight also dawns. I'm hopeful and I want to elope. The daffodils bloom. And then courage is telling me to hold on. And it's telling me to move on. The sunshine is striking. I'm dragging out of bed.
Yeah.
But I'm still singing the song as I drag out of bed. And, I'm wishing and I'm hopeful, but I'm also in despair.
It's about this duality in life, right? It's never, again, coming to the idea of black and white. It's never like either good or bad, right? It's always a mix of emotions and circumstances you go through, I feel.
Yeah. And I think this is where, when we were talking about values can be a source of strength and a source of going towards. So I think I talk about courage and hope, but also hopelessness at the same time. And courage here, or strength, is a source for pushing me here and giving me strength to carry on in life. And singing a song and dragging out of bed, even though I'm not feeling like it.
Yeah.
And hope is something also pushing me towards it, but also a thing that I'm moving towards. So yeah, it's something I wrote 10 years ago at 6 a.m. at an airport. And I think it was I was at a time that I was feeling very lost and confused in my life. And I was not feeling so hopeful about life. I did not, all the goals and dreams you have, you just don't have them anymore. And I was not seeing where I want to go or where I want to be, and not feeling very hopeful. And I think writing this for me instantly gave me a sense of peace. And and I think it also just taught me that courage, again, is not a loud voice that says, oh, move on. I wrote here, it's calming me awake, and then it's calling me awake, and it's whispering. It's sometimes it's a silent whisper, and then that's all you need.
Yeah. It's also beautiful that you kind of dealt with this feeling of being lost and difficult, whatever was happening in your life at the time, through the art. Because I feel like it's a beautiful way to do it, through creative expression of your emotions, of trying to make sense about them, through understanding, and also just, taking it out of yourself, taking it out of your system, because as I said, you kind of feel peaceful afterwards.
Yeah. So, I feel art is such a powerful medium because I mean, I write poetry, and there's some times where even words can't express the emotions you're having because emotions are so loaded and complicated.
And words are very limited.
And words are limited, and you need a medium for words. Like, okay, I need a pen and paper for poetry, but to communicate to someone, I need a medium. For art, I remember when I used to feel really angry when I was young, I would just like get a canvas and get it like, and I would just like scribble and I would just throw paints. And then it was actually my best paintings and artwork would come when I'm really high and intense in emotion. And that was just, I realized, oh my God, this is such a great medium to just put all my emotions out there instead of putting it at someone.
I agree because I like to dance, and usually I just dance because, it's like whatever. I like wander around my house, I dance a bit.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I'm really emotional, and I usually record myself when I dance because like, I don't know, I like to see like how I'm moving, etc. But when I'm really emotional, like angry or something is going on in my life, like my dance level just elevates to here, and I'm like, whoa, maybe I should just be angry all the time. Because I agree, like strong emotion, it also makes art more.
It's a huge, huge release, and you don't know how long your emotions have been stored. They can be something that's stored from years ago and lifetimes ago. Like when we're doing silence retreats during meditation, suddenly out of nowhere, I have like a aching pain in my tummy. I remember we did access
bars. Exactly. You just press somewhere and I have like this emotion, which was, I don't know where it was all these years.
Exactly. So it can be, you don't know what the trigger for the emotion is, but the emotion gets stored in our cellular level and it just gets released. So sometimes, often as women, we're like, oh, we're getting emotional for no reason. There is a reason to it, and maybe you don't know the reason, but it's good it's getting released. So never, anyone who calls you too sensitive or too emotional, I feel, I'm just like, emotions are such a antenna, and women have been blessed with that. And honestly, it's a source of strength. And again, coming back to strength, it's not being about rigid and a stick. It's actually really being comfortable in your tenderness. And can we find softness in strength and strength in softness? Can we really embrace our tenderness and our vulnerability and our fragility and know that we're protected with it and using that as a source of strength to show up in the world? And I feel that is true strength.
Yeah, I agree.
And your true authentic power.
I have two more questions. One I remember, so I don't have to take my phone. Would you consider yourself a more logical or intuitive person?
Intuitively logical.
Intuitively logical. Intertwined.
Yes.
Makes sense. Okay, and this one is a rather philosophical one, but what does being a woman mean to you?
Ooh.
Yeah, I feel like it's another topic for another podcast almost.
What does being a woman mean to me? Okay, I mean, a bit of a tangent. When I was a kid, until I was a teenager, I did not like being a woman. Yeah, I did not like it. I mean, we have our cycles and our biological cycles, and then the cultural pressures and the biases. My family was always very open and free, and they always gave me the freedom, and there was no gender biases. Everything, whenever I asked them for direction, sometimes it also frustrated me because I would say, what should I do? What should I choose? And they're like, you know best. Go ahead, what you want to do. But I did not like being a woman. I've always been feminine, but there was a phase I became an absolute tomboy. And over time, it's so funny because I think a few days ago, I actually wrote in my journal, I'm so grateful to be born as a woman and to be a woman. And so what being a woman means to me, I don't think it's a biological thing. I mean, biological is a factor, but it's more about energy. I think being a woman means to me finding softness. Again, I'm going to repeat myself, but literally finding softness in my strength and finding strength in my softness. And I feel as women, we're so multidimensional. We're so multidimensional. Like men, I mean, now we're going to talk about hormones, but their hormones are just, linear line. we have 4 seasons we live in a month. And we go like, you know, like autumn, fall, spring, winter, like we're all in one. And I feel we're so wholesome. So being a woman to me means being fluid, being free, having a sense of wildness, but wildness that's gorgeous, that's beautiful, that's glorious. I recently just got back from India, and every year I go to India to celebrate this festival we have. It's called Navaratri, and it's actually celebrating the 9 forms of the Mother Divine.
Okay.
It's literally worshipping the feminine energy. And I learned this verse where you like talk about the 1,000 attributes of a woman and the 1,000 attributes of the goddess. And I'm just in awe. Like I get goosebumps every time I think of it. It's full of, being a woman is full of beauty, glory, so much grace. It's, being a woman is for me about life. I feel women bring life into the room or wherever we go. You know, even if you have a corporate, corporate boardroom, or you have, all men, and you have a woman entering in there, or you have a room full of women, it just feels different energetically. Because I feel we're just so, they just bring a sense of beauty and a sense of aliveness. In Sanskrit, we call it Shakti. Shakti's power. Shakti's energy. You know, you have the Shiva, which is like the calm consciousness. The consciousness is pervading everywhere. But actually what gets the consciousness into its form and into its manifest form, to see all the beauty around us and to experience the glory of the universe and this massive expansive energy, is Shakti, which is the Devi, or the Mother Divine, or the woman in energy. So being a woman means to me being multidimensional, being limitless, being full of life and joy, and bringing beauty and your version of happiness wherever you go. But yeah, it's just multidimensional, because when we praise the goddess, we also say, oh, the goddess is also sleep. The goddess is also confusion. The goddess is also, illusion. So when you're also not only attributing or praising the good values in the feminine energy or the masculine energy in the world, but you're also honoring the so-called bad values, you're able to really skillfully manage them and transform them as a force for your good rather than your destruction. When I'm looking at laziness as something I have to fight, whatever you resist will persist. I don't want to be lazy, and it's almost going to be, I'm going to be frustrated. But as soon as I'm like, oh, laziness is an attribute that is beautiful in itself, you know what? I embrace it, but I'm going to choose being not lazy. I'm going to choose being disciplined today. It's the same value, is doing the same thing, but now it has less power over you, and you're able to go somewhere where you want versus where you don't want.
As a final question,
That was a long answer.
No, I really loved it, to be honest, because it's I agree with you. Like, it's hard to define a woman in like one word or like 2 words, right? It's a very deep topic, and it's also, woman can't be described easily. Neither man can be, but also especially.
And I think the strength of a woman and women as general is just depth. So much intuition and depth, and just an innate wisdom. I feel no one can go against a girl's sixth sense.
This is true.
Women just know. And I find that powerful. Like, women just know what's going on. So I think that is such a source of strength. And just, we're creators. We're born creators. You know, you created a baby. And we're babies of babies. So that power to actually create and manifest, I feel that's powerful. And that's what being a woman is.
Makes sense. As we come to a close, I don't want to ask for advice, but are there any words we can say to women who are listening to us right now?
Let me think. So like a piece of advice?
Kind of piece of advice, yeah.
Okay. Very tacky. But honestly, believe in yourself. There'll be times where you won't, where people won't. where no one will tell you, but listen to that voice of courage and strength inside that tells you, not almost tells, just whispers, move on, hold on, and move forward, and keep going, and just believe in yourself. I think that is so, so, so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's overheard, but underused and underimplemented. So listen to that voice of strength and always listen to your intuition. Sometimes it's not always clear, but you know.
Yeah.
We know.
Thank you so much, Isha. I really love this conversation. And thank you for bringing so much depth and perspective into this conversation, to this room, into this podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so
I really, really enjoyed it. It was my first podcast, so thank you. And
mine as well. But I think we did well.
I think we did well. And I mean, this jewelry is honestly so beautiful,
Thank you.
Anna. I just hope that more and more women use this and use jewelry as a source of power and a reminder of our values and our inner guidance and our inner compass. And not only the design of all of these jewelry are so beautiful, but they're so meaningful. And I feel that's what makes them so unique and precious.
Thank you
So thank you for your beautiful designs and the heart that you put in your work and the vision that you have. And I really, really hope it goes to amazing heights.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I want to give you a hug.